So, I knew that the happiness would not last long because this is Gantz. So, maybe I took a little bit longer than I normally would have after reading volume 19 because I wanted that happiness to stay. I wanted Kurono to be out of Gantz and happy with Tai, who is revived. I wanted Kato, who is back also, to be with his brother, and all of the other characters that got revived, and all the great times they could possibly have moving forward. Perhaps a picnic with the Gantz team. Very loud cars outside. But, of course, that's not how it goes, and I get into volume 20, which is apparently the last volume in the first phase of Gantz. I guess Gantz has like a part 1 and a part 2, so it makes sense, volume 19, all these characters coming back and getting a resolution, and then volume 20 now kind of being the final nail in the coffin for this segment of Gantz. So that makes sense, and going into the second segment, I'm very, very excited. Like I said, we're about a little bit more than halfway through the series now, so I think I have a good grasp on Gantz as an entire franchise, I guess, so far. But I'm very, very excited to read what's going forward. But this volume, of course, gives us what is happening with Kurono now that he is back in the real world with his memories wiped of Gantz. But Gantz, isn't perfect. It wipes his memories, but he still has his cell phone with all the other characters still in his phone. You notice he has the actress, Rika or Rika. How am I supposed to pronounce your name? By the way, if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, just correct me in the comments. Like, don't worry, it's not an insult or anything. I've only seen these names written. I haven't heard them spoken, so I don't know how to pronounce them correctly. I've been saying Rika. Is it Rika? I don't know. Correct me. Anyways, so he sees all this in there, and he knows that something's up. He knows that something's weird. He has pictures of him and Tai hanging out, and he doesn't remember any of the interactions together, and she doesn't remember either. So they're trying to figure things out together. Meanwhile, there's this kind of investigator, this reporter that saw the incident that happened with Gantz when Gantz kind of malfunctioned, or something happened with Gantz, and it allowed everybody to see the team fighting against the Oni demons, or the Oni aliens. And he comes to interview or investigate Kurono, talks to him, and even shows him a video of Kurono, like a freeze frame image of him during that fight, which Kurono just freaks out. He's like, I don't know, I don't understand where this is coming from, yada yada. And, the reporter kind of takes in the information and then leaves. But then you find out that the reporter has also been talking to the other Kurono, Akira Kurono, which is Kurono's brother, who we got just a very, very brief glimpse of before. I think he was only introduced in one chapter just to let us know that he's part of the vampire troupe, or he's a newer vampire into the troupe. And honestly, I was thinking that Gantz was just going to completely forget about his character, because I kind of forgot about his character. But he kind of shows back up, and we go into this kind of nightclub, vampire fight club that's basically going on, and Akira Kurono is in the fight club, and he's winning battles, and he's bringing girls in, and they're, slicing people up and drinking their blood right in the middle of everything. It sounds like a really good party. You kind of feel like you want the beginning of Blade to happen, where all the blood rains out of the sprinklers, and then Blade comes in and just like slices them all up, but we don't really get that. But the reporter comes there, and he kind of tries to, for some reason, make a deal with these vampires, perhaps just to save his own ass. I'm not really sure why he gives up this information, but he gives up what he knows about the Gantz team that he's been trying to investigate. He knows Kurono, our main character, where he lives, and he also knows the location of Izumi, who he's been looking towards. And the vampires decide that they're going to go after Izumi first. Now, for whatever reason, we've seen that the vampires have a lot of fun hunting down the Gantz team. This could possibly be for a couple of reasons. It's not really stated why, or at least I don't believe it has been, but you feel like either the vampires have been hunted at one point in time by the Gantz team, and this is just a method of revenge, or the vampires just found out about the Gantz team and then just kind of hunt the hunters for fun, showing who the ultimate hunter is. Since they haven't been a target as far as when the actual series starts. Maybe they were beforehand. So they decided to go after Izumi first, which was fine with me because, I hate Izumi. I mean, he's a fine character, but as a person, as a human being, I just can't. After the mass shooting incident and what he did to Tai and everything, I hate this character, and I was happy to see what happened to him in this volume. So the vampires attack, and he does his best. Actually, before that, I thought was really cool was this moment between Izumi and Nishi. from the earlier volumes who died in the second mission. I thought that was really cool to see them together and see them interact. And Nishi remembers Izumi, but Izumi doesn't remember Nishi, so they have kind of a neat little interaction. But once the vampires show up, Nishi's out of there. He's like, "You're on your own, dude. Like, this isn't gonna get me any points. I don't care." So he's out of there. So they're both assholes, but they're assholes in different ways, which is it's cool to see two assholes interact. So Izumi just fights for his life. He's fighting in the subway station, and then he's fighting on his way home. He's using his katana, he's using his suit, and he kills dozens upon dozens of these vampires to the point where there's only kind of the leader left, that kind of blonde-haired one that we keep seeing over and over again. And he manages to shut off Izumi's suit. He gets him to use it to the point where it bleeds out so that the suit is inactive, and then he's able to take Izumi down, and I could not have been happier about this moment. This was fantastic. In fact, even the other characters, the psychic characters, Sakura, he calls the one and says that Izumi's going to be attacked, but we should just let it happen because little did the other character know that Izumi's the one that killed them. So he kind of deserves what's coming to him. And he does deserve what's coming to him. He put himself into this position. He wanted to get back into the Gantz game. He wanted to cause this destruction. He wanted to fight. And so he just gets what's coming to him. And I guess he got a girlfriend or something. I didn't really remember this, if this happened prior. And there's a moment where he's dying and talking to her. And I don't know if it was intended to give us any kind of emotional sympathy towards Izumi, but I had zero whatsoever. I couldn't care less. So that was great. The only problem was I would have rather seen Kurono kill him, or somebody get more vengeance. But then again, vengeance doesn't really matter at this point. All that matters is that Izumi gets what's coming to him, and he did. But unfortunately, our main character Kurono was next on the chopping block, and as the vampires come to attack him, his brother does warn him, but then his brother gets decapitated after that. So again, his brother is just kind of in and out of the story. Really, that's really the only reason why it had to be Kurono's brother, just the fact that he would have his number to call him to warn him. Other than that, I don't really see how him being, Kurono having a brother who's a vampire really kind of added any benefit to the story whatsoever. It just kind of felt like it was thrown in there. And in a way, the vampires themselves kind of feel like they're thrown in there, except with what happens at the end of this volume, how the mangaka kind of mixes it in. So, unfortunately, Kurono, of course, has no memories of the Gantz team or anything like that, but Rika calls him, and she finds out that something is happening. It's going down, and she says that she's going to assemble the Gantz team, which is just amazing that, they still respect Kurono as their leader, even though they know, it's they want to keep him safe, because he got them through so much. He got them through so many games, through so many struggles, that they just are deciding that they're going to keep an eye on him, and they're going to make sure that he's safe and can live his life happily. Which doesn't happen, but at least they try. At least they fucking try. So the vampires come for Kurono next, and he does manage to take a bunch of them out just by using this kind of UV light or whatever that their skin can't handle, which is very cool. And it's kind of unconfirmed if he actually starts to have memories spike in his head about the Gantz team, because as he's fighting, he's kind of repeating to himself over and over. He's saying I was the leader of the Gantz team. I'm the leader of the Gantz team. He's sort of willing it into existence, right? He's repeating it kind of like a chant or a spell, to remember, I am the leader of the Gantz team. I am the leader of the Gantz team. And while he's doing this, there's these little images of flashes that maybe he's remembering, but it's kind of left to us to interpret. And I guess for my interpretation, I would say that he doesn't directly remember the events happening, but maybe he's having just little flashes. He remembers an image of this particular area of the city or this one, and then that's what's happening. Anyways, he managed to go out, and there's only two vampires that are left. There's the leader with the blonde hair that we've seen before, and a female vampire. And right before the Gantz team gets there, in particular Gantz fashion, where nobody is safe and death is all around us, right before Kato and Rika and the old man and all the characters show up, Kurono is sliced down, and he doesn't have a chance to heal, because this isn't a Gantz game, this is real life. And just as they get there, they begin being transported back to the room. But the very interesting twist that the manga puts on this is that one of the vampires grabs a hold of the old man, the lead vampire, and as they're transporting to the room, he gets taken too. And I guess nobody's tried this before, so if you're holding on to somebody that's being transported to the Gantz room, it transports you as well. So that's like a new, completely new development. And I don't know if this means that once they get to the room, they'll be able to have suits and do the whole thing as well. I don't know how that's going to work. But Rika, you know, tries to hold on to Kurono to take him to the room, but it doesn't work. And they're all transported away except for Kurono. And now Kurono, our main character at the end of Phase 1 of Gantz, has been taken out. As in, there's no way to regenerate now, and his body is left there while all the other characters have to go back for another mission. So if that's the end of Phase 1 of Gantz, that's a pretty strong ending. That's pretty hardcore, that you would actually take out your main character like that and to really kill him. I mean, I know Gantz started with Kurono's death, but as we all know, it started that's what started the Gantz team. Now, I don't think that they would just have him show up in the room next. I'm pretty sure that this being the end of like an arc or a phase would signify that that's a cutoff point. Like, that's a serious cutoff point, that Kurono is actually going to be out of the story, or at least out of the story for a while. I'm sure Kato or one of the other characters will want to bring him back if they can reach the 100-point status, so I'm sure that will be a new goal. Thank God Azumi's out of there. I don't care about that, so I got one kind of happiness out of this, but then seeing Kurono go is rough. And what's Tai gonna think? You know, God, because Kurono had to deal with Tai's death, and now Kai's gonna have to deal with it, and it's just so sad, man. It's so sad, but that's the reality of Gantz, is that it's harsh and it's cruel and it's unforgiving, and that's why we love the story. So what did you guys think about Gantz Volume 20? If you know it, if you've read it, down below. Let me know what you think about the entirety of the Phase 1 of Gantz. Put all that down there. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you want to stick around and see some more reviews and content. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you next time.